so much for 500 followers. 500 followers. I should come up with a song for that. Do I have a song for that? 500 followers. 500 followers. 500 followers. Let me stop. They're probably like, who is that girl making all that noise? What's up, fam? I'm so glad that you're back. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are new, my name is RAEdiate. I'm an artist who is traveling all over the world, meeting other artists, especially artists of color, and seeing how they experience joy and freedom and happiness through their artistry. And today what we're going to talk about is traveling abroad solo while Black. What you need to know when traveling abroad solo while Black. Of course, this can go for if you're white, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're tall, if you're short, if you're skinny, if you're not skinny. All these tips can apply to you, but as a Black woman, I always love to tailor at some point or some part of my video to those who are specifically Black men, Black women, but for you guys, specifically Black female solo travelers. But this is for everyone. I'm going to give you 9 tips today. 9 tips on traveling abroad solo safely while Black. First tip, know thyself. They say that the first words ever written in history, whether it was in the African continent or another continent, know thyself. Have a sense of self. If you be walking through these streets, maybe it's because I'm from Brooklyn, New York. You know, when you're from Brooklyn, New York, you learn. You better walk through these streets like you know somebody, like you somebody. Because if you walk around the streets, in these streets in Brooklyn, or back in the day when I was coming up, these streets in Brooklyn, like you scared or like you're not confident, you will be taken advantage of. Somebody who will do something with you. And the same thing applies all over the world. If you walk around like, then of course, something will happen. But you have to have a sense of self. You have to know yourself. You have to have an understanding of discernment. If your spirit says to you, don't go down that alley, don't go down that alley. Hello? If your spirit says to you, don't get in that car, don't get in that car. Hello? If your spirit says to you, don't do that, don't do that. So you have to know thyself. You have to listen to thyself. You have to have a sense of self when you're walking around. Confidence. I'm not saying be loud. And as somebody who's from New York, I can be pretty loud. But I know when I'm walking through these streets and I don't know anybody, or I'm here by myself as a solo Black female traveler, trust me, I make sure that I walk around with quiet confidence. I'm 6 feet. A quiet giant is what I aim to be. All right, y'all? So that's the first tip. Have a sense of self. Know that you can travel solo. Believe in the process. Believe in the action. And go for it. Leap and the net will appear. Who says that? Was that Julie Cameron, the artist way? Anyway, number 2, perception is reality. Okay, y'all? Perception is reality. How you are perceived is a big deal. How you perceive things is also a big deal. But I'm going to talk about how people perceive you. I remember when I was in LA and I was an actress and I had just come off a big show. And my agent at the time said to me, you need to meet this manager. No, my manager was like, I need you to meet this teacher. His name was Sam Christensen. You guys should Google him. Sam Christensen Studios. I'm not sure if he's still alive, but he was great. And what you are taught in this class is you walk in, you're not allowed to talk. Everyone gets up individually in front of the class and you have this sheet with like 100 adjectives. Stunning, loyal, outspoken, warrior, gotta, different things, right? That could apply to anyone. And the teacher said in all his history as a teacher, I was the only student where all the students picked the same adjectives for me. And this is me standing up in front of a room without talking. Goddess, stunning. And that's the thing that's so crazy is I don't perceive myself that way. You see how that can be dangerous? I don't perceive myself as outspoken without even saying a word. I don't perceive myself as a warrior. I don't perceive myself as that. I perceive myself as a young Black girl from the ghetto who was just trying to make it out here. Warrior, you know what I mean? Goddess, what is that? But when I walk into a room, this is how people perceive me. Folk, when you walk into the room as a Black lady, when you are traveling abroad solo as a Black lady, know how you are perceived. Because as a white man, you are perceived differently as a Black than a Black woman. Yes, a non-skinny person is perceived differently than a skinny person. Praise Goddess. A gay person is perceived differently than a straight person. So know how you are perceived so that you can move accordingly when traveling abroad solo while black. Weren't these kids, they weren't even traveling internationally, they were traveling domestically. One of those, predominantly black colleges, they were traveling and they had come from a game, a sports team, and they were pulled over and they were racially profiled. They were pulled over for a traffic stop and mofos went in there and checked everybody's bags, all the police looking for, okay, madness. It's all over the news. So wherever you go, make sure you understand how you are perceived, how people perceive you, because that could be a matter of life or death, y'all. You really have to know how you are being looked at as you move and walk through this world, traveling abroad solo while black. Okay. My mom said when she first came from Jamaica, she came to Jamaica in America, like in the, I don't know, remember, but she came to Jamaica years ago. And she said she was at a job, like a job something, a job seminar. And she had filled out black, white, Indian, other. She had checked. And the lady was like, ma'am, you are black. Why you checked other? And my mother was like, I'm black? Huh? What? She had no concept of the term black. All she knew was she was Jamaican. To her, black was African, right? All she knew was she was Jamaican. So she had to learn. She was a rude awakening for my mother when she first came from Jamaica, that she was a black woman. Another friend of mine, she knew she was black. She was very clear about that. But she did not know that being raised in a very suburb, rural, her parents were, she was raised in a white community, white schools, and she was never discriminated against until she got to New York. And she went in for an apartment and the homeowner was like, I cannot give you this apartment because you're black. And she was like, huh? And that's when she realized for the first time that there were limitations put upon her because she was black. Know how you are perceived from all aspects. I don't believe in pretty privilege, but I do believe that people will look at you and exotify you, sexualize you. Know how you are being perceived so you know how to move through this world accordingly. Number 3, research. People don't like to read. So if you don't like to read, go on YouTube and watch videos about where you're going. If you want to go to Tokyo, make sure you watch as many videos as you possibly can on what not to do and what to do if you want to go and visit Tokyo. Or if you want to go and visit Lagos, Nigeria, what to do, what not to do, what to expect, what not to expect. In this day of age of social media, there is so much information on YouTube, on TripAdvisor, on, everything. All you have to do is your research and be as well versed as you possibly can be before you land, before you even buy a ticket. No, do I need a visa? Do I need a special vaccine? Do I need a test? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I need to know before going to that place, right? What are the travel restrictions? What's happening? So Google, YouTube, go to the airline, countries, embassies, go online and do your research before you get there. And if you're going on a multiple trip like me, I'm going all over the world and I'm going to visit every single country as possible, then you need to make sure you do research for every single country. And I'm doing research a month before I even get there. So number 3, research. Try to get as much information as you possibly can on that country that you'll be visiting. Number 4, make sure you use Facebook groups. Any kind of group you can get into, make sure you use them to try to connect with locals or expats that are actually presently living where you want to go. What? Let me say this. My girlfriend just texted me today. She was like, Ray, thank you so much. I should show you the text. Thank you so much for connecting me with this Facebook group. I got a job off the group. And I'm not even a Facebook fan. However, Facebook, and if you want to really be specific, I would recommend that. Blacks in Lisbon, Black women in Lisbon, solo female travelers in Lisbon, right? This is what I'm saying. This applies to Black, white, it doesn't matter. I'm specifically speaking to Black women who travel solo, but this is for everyone. Get into these Facebook groups because you will need to know these locals. What will the locals help you with? How things work, how things don't work, how much things should cost, what the best markets are, so you can go to the supermarkets, you can go to the stores and see how much things cost before you end up going to the market and being scammed. Because as a tourist or as a non-native, you have non-native prices and mofos will try to scam you. So if you don't have an idea of how much things cost or where to go or how to take the train, or especially if you don't speak the language, then I don't know what to tell you. I would get on the Facebook, be specific as possible when joining a group. A lot of these black Facebook groups, they even ask you, are you Black? Yes. Yeah, I'm Black. Yes, African descent. So make sure you get into these Facebook groups and connect with expats or locals so that you have an idea of the lay of the land. Yes? So important. Number 5. Look, folks, we have no excuse to not be able to learn a little bit of the language. Remember, this is about traveling the world safely as a solo female Black traveler or as a solo traveler, yes? So with social media today, you have Babbel, you have Duolingo, you have all kinds of websites, all kinds of apps that you can use for free, 20 minutes a day to 1 hour a day to learn a language. Babbel, Duolingo, I'm not even getting paid promotion for this, but this is what I use, 20 minutes to an hour today, an hour a day. I really try my best to use Babbel or Duolingo and learn the language. Know how to say hello, know how to say goodbye, know how to say how much, know how to say what is the price, know how to say thank you, know how to say please, know how to say where's the toilet, know how to say where is the taxi. You know what I mean? Basic things. Make a list of things, that words, phrases that you think you need to use when you're traveling. Do not be afraid. Back to the first one, a sense of self, a sense of confidence. Speak up, even if you have a bad accent, even if you don't know what you're saying. Speak up. Say what you have to say and know a little bit of the language before you get there. Someone like me who's going to be traveling, for example, I'm going to go through Eastern Europe and it's going to be really fast. So maybe I won't do any Facebook groups because I'll just go as a tourist. I'll be very hidden. I'll just go right to the touristy spots and I'll just move through. But if you're going to be staying in a place for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 months, and you're going to be slowly moving throughout the world, traveling abroad as a solo traveler, make sure you have some type of the language. Make an effort before you get there. Number 6, know how your phone will work once it gets to that city. When I went to Dakar, Senegal, my phone didn't work. So what did I need to do? I needed to have an extra phone with me. I had an extra phone, or you keep your phone, you go, you buy a SIM, you put in your phone, boom, they give you a number, done. And you prepay. You pay as you go. When I got to Brazil, I was in for a rude awakening. Brazil, you need a CPF. I don't know what CPF means, but it's sort of like a tax ID number, a social security number. I didn't have that. So the Uber guy, y'all, the taxi guy fam, actually took me to the mall, used his CPF, and got me connected with a SIM card. Now, suppose. Now, yes, I had some friends there, but turns out my friends who lived there had no idea how to do it because they had Free or T-Mobile, which works everywhere, but I have Verizon, so I'm not here to give people, because this is not paid promotion. However, make sure you know how your phone works. And some of these phone companies in America, they will be charging you $10, $20 a day because you're international. So make sure you understand how your phone works, because if you don't know how your phone works, ooh, we sweating out here. If you don't know how your phone works when you get there, how are you going to use Uber? How are you going to have internet? How are you going to communicate? How are you going to get to your WhatsApp? How are you going to get into your Airbnb? How? Make sure you know how your phone works. Because if you don't know how your phone works, you are SOL. And in today's society, you need your phone. Okay. Number 7, every city, every country you go to, make sure one person knows where you are. Uber, send a friend when you get to the airport. When you're going from the airport to your Airbnb, send your friend, share your location, share your ride, right? I have 3 friends. I got one in London, one in the States, and one in France. And everywhere I go, they all know where I'm at. Because sometimes my social media will say one thing and I'm in a whole nother place. But these three girls, they know exactly where I'm at. As soon as I land, as soon as I get from that airport to my Airbnb, I share my ride with everybody. And everybody knows where I am. So make sure, if you're traveling around the world solo, make sure everyone, someone, one person knows where you are. At all. Not at all times, but they know when you land in a different country. All right, fam. Number 8, don't put yourself in whack-ass situations. And y'all know what whack-ass situations are. Alcohol, drugs, one-night stands. Look, y'all, I'm not saying you can't drink. I'm not saying you can't puff, pass. I'm not saying that you can't have a one-night stand and get your rocks in. But be very careful when you travel in the world solo by yourself. Women, be very careful. I have some girlfriends who met a dude in a country and he was for love at first sight. And he was like, I'm in love with you. Please come on my boat. And she went on the boat with a dude she never knew and she was fine. I've also heard about some women who did that and ain't come home safely. Never made it back home. Again, this is why you gotta know yourself. This is why you have to have discernment. But me, on an overall picture, yeah, don't get drunk. Don't be getting high, and don't be going to no dude's house, getting no dude's car that you just met when you traveling abroad. If you at home, that's one thing. But if you out in the world, that's another. And you men who be thinking you can go to Brazil. Don't you know, everybody told me when I went to Brazil, oh my God, when I came here, oh my God, you're gonna die, you're gonna get chopped up. It's not true. Anywhere you go in the world, you can die and get chopped up, okay? But men, those you men, yo, who be traveling solo or even in groups and be wanting to go to Brazil for chickies. Don't be playing yourself. Don't be having bloop bloop with these chickies and not expecting to pay them. Here's a story. My homie was like, Ray, I went to Brazil. Oh my God, I went to Rio for Carnival. Oh my God, I met this girl. She was fantastic. Oh my God, she was amazing. Oh my God, she was awesome. Oh my God, she was so hot. You know how these Brazilian women are submissive and they're not like you Black American women. So he went to Brazil thinking he was gonna find something special. But let me tell you, honey, he went to Brazil and this Brazilian girl, she was so beautiful, she was charming, she was amazing, she was wonderful. And then she went to his house, which means she knew where he was, she knew his address, and they had bloop bloop. And then she went home and Mofo was not trying to give her no money. He's like, why I gotta give her money for? Why? That's what I like about you Black American. Why I gotta give her money? Why I just can't? I never asked to be her man, I never asked her to be on a date. She was flirting with me. Why? I said, okay, don't give her money, see what happens. Yo, he called me, he was like, Ray, her brother came to my Airbnb and they almost tried to yoke me up. I gave them all the money that I had, more than I ever would have wanted. You see? Don't put yourself in whack-ass situations without knowing the full extent of what you're doing. And if you think you know, you don't know. Ladies, if you're gonna drink, drink one drink. Make sure you buy your own drink. Make sure you watch it. I don't get to be here and preach to y'all about how to be safe when it comes around drugs and alcohol and one night stand. Hello? I ain't saying you can't have fun, but unless you're in a group that you trust, if you're a solo traveler, men and women, do not play yourself. Be careful. Do not put yourself in shifty, shady, or even, there's a verse where the Bible says, do not let your good be evil spoken of. When you're in a marriage, do not put yourself in situations that could get you in trouble. That's it. That's it. Right? And anything happening after midnight, I know I'm an artist, so I know what the nightlife is. Number 9, travel insurance. Make sure you have it. When I was in Brazil just recently and I broke my toe, Airbnb was being mad shady. Ooh, he's sweating. Airbnb was being mad shady on taking care of that bill. Thank God for travel insurance. And even though travel insurance didn't have to deal with it after all, Airbnb handled it. If anything happened with Airbnb, travel insurance was gonna take care of it. And you can get some really great travel insurance policies for cheap. So I have Alliance Travel. Again, I don't have paid, this is not a paid promotion, but that is who I use. They were wonderful. Maybe other people had terrible experiences, but if you're looking for a travel insurance company, you don't know how to find one, I would first start with where are you going? Google that. Travel insurance Brazil, travel insurance Lagos. Because funny enough, all these different travel insurance agencies, they work sometimes with specific countries and they help you get your visa and they help you through the process that you need to make sure you have all your documents in regards to traveling. Yeah. So travel insurance companies are so key. They're helpful. And if I were to be traveling all over the world, like when I went to Costa Rica, I had travel insurance. Because I'm a European, let's not forget y'all, I have my visa for Europe because I lived in Paris for 5 years. So I have my professional artist liberal visa. So that means that as I travel all over Europe, and because I am French, I'm legally French, I have their medical system that is available to me all over Europe. So as I travel over Europe, I personally don't need travel insurance, but you do if you don't have a visa or carte de séjour or titre de séjour that allows you to work and live in France and have their Social Security Medicare. All right, y'all. So I hope that was helpful. Number 1, know thyself. Number 2, perception is reality. Number 3, research, research, research. Number 4, try to get to know some locals before you get there. Number 5, learn a little bit of the language. Number 6, know how the phone system works before you get there. Number 7, tell folk where you are in every country that you go to. Number 8, don't put yourself in tricky situations. And number 9, travel insurance. All right, y'all. I hope that was helpful. I love you. RAEdiate. Let me go before I sweat. Look, y'all, I am sweating. Let me get out of here. I love you guys. Beijos. Ciao, ciao. Oh, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for being here. And guys, I just have to say thank you so much for 500 followers. 500 followers. I should come up with a song for that. Do you have a song for that? 500 followers. 500 followers. 500 followers. Let me start. They're probably like, who is that girl making all that noise? All right, y'all. Like I said, don't be loud. But I'm in my own home, so who cares? All right, y'all. I love you. Like, share, and subscribe. Deuces. Peace out. Holla.
RAEdiate.